What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of DevTalks podcast, where we talk about everything engineering and technology with your host Travian. Back at it another week, and we're back into this, and it's really being consistent with it and going with it and making sure everything gets done on time. Man, this week I really had no clue what I wanted to talk about. Sometimes I can really sit there and like wait for inspiration to either hit, or I see some certain news stuff come out. I hear other people talk about certain stuff, and that kind of helps figure out what I want to talk about. Or if I have an interview, uh, then I set up stuff for them and all the stuff like that. So that was all great. And then there's also it just really depends how I really come up what I want to talk about every week. And sometimes it takes a while to just be like, yeah, this is what I'm going to talk about. This is what I'm going to go with, and things like that. Especially when you have a bunch of other stuff to do and a bunch of things to catch up on. Maybe you're missing certain stuff and things like that. But I remember last episode. If you haven't listened, go check it out. I talked about Microsoft some and how they need to make better games and things like that. And I kind of wanted to do a little bit of deeper dive, but I'm not going to sit here and talk about, oh, why gaming as a whole is good or bad now and things like that. That is a whole nother episode, a whole nother like idea of a topic, and it's just another box to be is that's supposed to be talked about at a later date. This one I feel like is a really I'm gonna try to make this episode something to really build off of part of what we talked about in the last episode, based on an example of one of the games that Microsoft and Xbox released, and how we can really learn from that, as how they can learn from that, and what to really take from that. And also what if you guys have any opinions based on the game or their whole gaming setup or whatever that has to do with Microsoft and anything like that, then drop it in the comments, let me know, and things like that. But don't want to hold everybody to it. I just want to dive right into this. I'm really excited to talk about it. Gaming is one of the reasons why I got into like being a software engineer and stuff. So like when it comes to certain stuff like this, if I wasn't being a software engineer, I'll probably be a game developer somewhere. And I really enjoy the whole processes that come through all of this and the ideas of it. So when it comes to talk about it, I'm really there. So let's just dive in and let's go. Okay, so just like I said earlier, I wanted to give an example based off of that, just to kind of debrief on everybody who may have not remembered from a week ago. Last week, I was talking about how Microsoft was going to try to buy Activision and how it got blocked by the UK government. So, because of like competition, fair competition, market stuff, and things like that. So, due to that, and I talked about how they should just make better games and things like that. And recently, Microsoft and Xbox recently released a game called Redfall. And when I tell you this was a disaster, it was a disaster of a launch. Like it was so bad. Like it I remember when games used to be around $50 and then they went up to $60, and now they're about $70 for these new games. All these new Call of Duties and all these other new games that you pay for that are big names and stuff like that, they're supposed to be $70. And honestly, I feel bad for everybody who pre-ordered this game. I don't really know about the if there was any beta testing and stuff like that, which there should have been a whole lot, and should have been a whole bunch more time. But it just was bad, and I feel sorry for everybody who spent their money on the game already. Maybe it'll get better in the future. We'll see. We'll talk a little bit into that and stuff like that. But Microsoft is really slacking for their community as a whole and things like that. So, like Redfall, this game, just to like give you an idea of how bad the launch and everything was. If you go to Steam, uh, it's overwhelmingly negative, the reviews. The critics don't even suggest it. Only like 19% of them do. The whole community dislikes it. They're giving it low users ratings and stuff like that, because not only is the game bad to play on Xbox, but it's also bad to play on PC as well too. And apparently it's super buggy and you can't even run anything. The game was supposed to be like 60 frames per second or something like that, and it can't even do that. And a whole bunch of other stuff that just not there. Like the game's very lackluster. It's not really too exciting. It's lacking on a lot. Like it's just a bad game, even if it wasn't buggy. It's not like one of those things you can take the bugs out and the game's automatically good again and things. And for this to also, there's actually a site that ranks all of Steam's worst games and stuff based on ratings and stuff, and it's in the top 20. I think it's like number 14 or something like this. And it just launched. So, as you can see, it's just things aren't going good. Things are not going good for them at all. This further proves my point that I said last week about them just needing to make better games and stuff like that, but they don't. And who knows why? Nobody may not know why, but it's I just don't really understand too much, but there's more news that comes out of this and things like that. So I believe that the game was rushed to be put out. There was probably a deadline set, and once when that day came, they just threw it out there. However it was however it was. And they were just gonna get whoever pre-ordered it and whatever, take whatever little bit of money and things. And maybe they thought the game was good or something at that point. They thought that they can just do better and fix it a little bit as time goes on. But you can't launch a game that bad. Like it's very good because one of the people in charge of launching the game actually sat there and took the blame. His name is Phil Spencer, and he did a whole interview and talking about it for about 40 minutes or so, and talking about all how he's disappointed in himself for letting it come out and things, and what they're going to try to do for the future and all this other stuff, especially regarding the game. Like, it's a $70 game, and if I paid for it and nothing ever got better in the game in the future wise, I'd probably be upset. I would actually probably would have refunded it, honestly. Steam, if you played under a certain number of hours, um, if you play a certain number of hours with of a game and you're under it, you can actually get a refund on it and stuff. And I'm assuming a lot of people did do that. I don't know if anybody in particular did it, or I don't know like the count of people who did it and stuff like that, but I would have done it. I know I would have if it was that bad and you can't like play it at all. It's super buggy, and then the game itself is actually trash. Like there's nothing to it. The contents of it suck, and all this other stuff. Like it would, it would just be very disappointing. I would be very disappointed. I'm sure everybody there is disappointed as well too. But the one good thing that came out of here is for Phil Spencer actually sitting there and talking to the community and stuff like that. Normally, a lot of times, people who make these decisions, they don't sit in front of the audience and the community and put the blame on themselves, because a lot of times when stuff goes wrong in video games, the devs get hounded for it, and it's very bad. It's very unfortunate and things. That a lot of times, like you can even see, like for basketball, for instance, if Adam Silver had social media, people would be hounding him like crazy for stuff to get fixed and stuff like that. But like these devs, they get hounded. So for him to sit there, I actually think it's actually kind of good culturally, especially for the devs who are under him and stuff like that. He made a mistake. Hopefully, they can learn from this. Um, but now that pressure and that blame gets taken off of the devs because I'm sure they probably knew the game wasn't done already. And I mean, you learn, but I feel like Microsoft has made several mistakes like this throughout the past few years. Like I can't really name off all the successful games that Microsoft has really released off the top of my head in the past few years. Not games that they bought, games that they successfully released and created on their own for Xbox and all the other stuff like Fallout, maybe. Off the top of my head, Fallout's wonderful game series and stuff. That's when I used to have an Xbox. I no longer do have Xbox. I'm now a PlayStation main person and I have a PC. So if I do want to play Microsoft games, I can just be on the PC now. Which I do play some Microsoft games still, but they're mainly older games and things like that. But as a whole, I'm actually happy that he did sit there and take the blame off it because based off personal experiences and stuff like this is how things go. I bet a certain deadline was set. They, as I said, they released it. They probably didn't talk to the devs too much and things like that. They had what they had, and as I said, they let it go. As a software engineer that works at a company, I know all about deadlines being set. It's kind of weird, different though, because I may not be giving out a certain type of product out to people. I mean, we still give stuff out, but like some that people are paying $70 of their own for their own entertainment and things like that. And then it's not entertaining at all. It may not be exactly the same, but the process I feel like is kind of the same with deadlines are set for you. You need to get this done by this date. And if you don't, then I mean other stuff will happen, of course, and certain things happen at this date, and there's certain cutoffs that happen, and a bunch of other fun stuff that you can really get into or don't really want to get into and things, but I bet they just wanted the devs maybe had wanted more time. And I can understand have being on a tight schedule and wanting a little bit more time and having to ask for it and things like that. This is where it's very important that the people who are setting these dates really talk to the people who are really engineering whatever product that these dates are set for. So like in this instant, Microsoft just give your devs more time. Let them be more creative. I've seen so many indie games that were so awesome that people really took their time with the game, like Stardew Valley and a bunch of other nice games like that, where it was one person. You guys have teams of people working on games, actual full teams. You have really smart people. I don't think they're all dumb. Maybe and everybody's not perfect and stuff like that. But to have these teams and not being able to produce the end result and the product that you want to reach, I think there's an issue there. So, like, it needs to get better. It needs to find a way to get better. If you can't find a way, then something else needs to happen because, like, what is going on? What is going on over there? I'm actually worried for Microsoft as in their whole gaming department and the future for it because like let's look at it this way, right? If who's gonna stick to Microsoft if they keep putting out bad games? Like Redfall is one. You just took $70. It was trash. You put out another game that's coming out that on your release. Let's hope that one wasn't rushed. Maybe they should look into how the game's actually going this time or get it tested properly and things like that because like I can understand releasing a game and certain bugs come happen. Call of Duty, they do it every year now. There's a lot of problems at launch and stuff. Things that can be better and stuff, but it's not entirely unplayable and things like that. Like come on now. You guys are one of the top companies that are out there for the gaming and you're supposed to be out up there and you want to know how you can make stuff better is give your devs more time, listen to community, make sure everything's tested properly, um coordinate with the devs appropriately for the dates and stuff like that. Some people who are die hard like supporters and fans would wait some time, but don't promise dates to the community if you can't uphold it with the right product and things that are actually playable and stuff like that. You just need to do better. If you guys need to give yourselves more time, instead of giving us what day you think you might want to do, delay it some. If you guys can't are producing too many games and you guys can't produce the game that you want to in that time that you think you need to with the team size that you put on it or whatever is going on. Who knows what's going on? I don't work there. I'm not for them and stuff like that. But this is what happens. Like people are gonna end up going to PlayStation and stuff and like PlayStation has how many great exclusive games? Like I'm pretty sure God of War was very big on PlayStation. Everybody loved the game. Spider-Man exclusive game for PlayStation. Uh, Everybody loved the game, and it was such a nice game. It's a one-player game. It was great. It was awesome. The and it was just a nice game to play. Like your competition is destroying you when it comes to these new games and these exclusive games. And I think you guys should really listen to how the community is reacting and to your stuff compared to your competitor stuff. And yes, I know UK blocked the Activision thing, but this is another one of your issues that I was talking about last game. And I'm talking as if I was talking to one of them, who worked at the Microsoft and who was one of the owners or in charge of the gaming community and things like that. Is losing train of thought because of how deep I just get into this. Like these episodes can't be perfect, man. I'm trying to do it, get into it, but yeah, that's what I was saying. So you put out games that nobody's liking and stuff, and PlayStation's doing way better than you, and then you go out and try to buy Activision, who puts out Call of Duties and things like that. You go out and buy Mojang's Minecraft and things like that, or whatever, however that worked. And if you're just buying these places and you have all these old games that you have now, then you're only living off of your old games. You're old living off of these old games. You're not living off of anything new. You're not moving anything into the future really that's different and unique and special to you guys. Like I'm sure some people instead of you putting out this Redfall game would have preferred you put out uh a remake of a game, or not even a remake, but a continuation of a game. Like how many God of Wars are there, and then like just how many Halos are there, how many Gears was it Gears of War, and how many Fallout's are there, and all that different stuff like that. Like just just take your time with stuff. Find something that's new that can stick with you. Like even the last episode I was talking about for PlayStation, The Last of Us was a banger. They gave it a TV show. Like find something that you can do with that, and then you'll bring so many more people back to your console and who would want to play your games and things like that, and just be able to grow from there as a whole. So that's what like I that's my advice to how they should grow and how they should make changes to the stuff. Me personally, the game's $70, and that's even without taxes and things like that. I'm not wasting my money and my time on it, especially on a game that's so bad. Phil had said that they're going to continuously work on the game and make it better, of course. But I feel like once when you do this bad at a launch, you put a taste in people's mouth as far as it. And if you guys keep going down this track, then it would go from a taste of the actual game to the people who are creating the games. And I believe that's not where you guys wanted to lead at all. Uh, I promise I'm sure you guys don't want it to lead that way, but it can definitely trend that way. And I feel like it's trending that way personally because the reviews on this were just so bad, and how many people already didn't like the game or refunded it, or now they're gonna sit here and try to wait for you to revamp it and make it better. Like apparently the game contents were trash. as well inside of it. You could just make a new game for it because if even if you fix the bugs, people there are people who just don't like the game itself. Now you have to do changes for that as well too. And maybe in 6 months or a year, the game is awesome and it's great. But after that time's gone out, you missed everybody. It's like the launch was messed up, the game's messed up. It's just over, it's done with, and that's just something that has to be lived with now. So I don't know. Everybody else, let me know what you guys really think about how Microsoft is really trending, how Xbox and all the other gaming stuff is trending as far as their whole gaming platforms, games, community. Let me know because they used to be very big back in the day. Like when I was growing up, it used to be so much bigger, and I feel like PlayStation has definitely taken that turn and that leap over them. For example, as one of their competitors who have done it, but let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys like this Redfall game. I assume most people will not. Uh, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Let me know what you guys also want to hear, what you guys want me to talk about. I'm about to reach out and try to get some guests in so we can talk about a new range of stuff, have some new topics, new ideas, get me thinking some different ways on how I can maybe do certain stuff or what I want to change in the future and things like that. But thank you all for listening and time to peace out. Deuce.